Hello students, welcome back to Community Health Nursing. In the last class, we were discussing regarding waste management. So we have seen how the waste is produced and how we can collect the waste, which are the various sources of waste we have seen, and we have seen what are the health effect due to the waste, and we have started with the treatment of solid waste. So in that we have discussed regarding thermal treatment, that is in that we have studied regarding incineration, pyrolysis, open burning we have learned. Then we have learned about dumping system or landfilling system and dumping system. So today we are going to continue with biological waste treatment, how we can treat the waste biologically. So in that the main method is composting. So I am very sure that you all have heard about composting method. What do you mean by composting? Composting is nature's process of recycling decomposed organic materials into a rich soil, which is known as compost. So we all know that for a long time, if the waste materials, maybe the dry leaves or the dead plants, or maybe any of such type of solid waste which can be degenerated into the soil, if it is kept for a long time, we can see that it will turn into compost. So it can be due to aerobic treatment or anaerobic, that means in the presence of oxygen or maybe without the presence of oxygen. So anything that was once living can decompose. We all know that. So composting is the controlled aerobic decomposition of organic matter by the action of microorganisms and small invertebrates. So with the help of microorganisms, under the aerobic condition, that means controlled aerobic condition, there will be the decomposition happening for all the organic materials, that is known as composting. So there are number of composting techniques being used nowadays. The end result of all this composting is an accumulation of partially decayed organic material which can be useful for agriculture, which is known as humus. So instead of using so much of artificial fertilizers, we can use this natural product which is known as humus. So let us enter and see which are the various types of composting methods. So the optimum temperature for the process are in the range of 50 to 60 degrees Celsius with the ideal, that means around 60 degrees Celsius or 50 to 60 degrees Celsius is the optimum temperature for composting. So composting is a combined method of refuse and night soil or sludge. So I'm very sure you all may be knowing what is night soil. Refuse means what? The waste things, all the solid waste materials. Night soil or sludge means the toilet waste. So it is the toilet waste. Usually I am sure that you may have heard that when the septic tank is filled or the septic tank is removing, at the end of the septic tank we will be able to see the last product of the toilet waste, that is the night soil or the sludge. So in the composting method we use this refuge and this night soil as a mixture, so that the composting method will be so fast, the decomposition will be very fast. So first one is Bangalore method, that is an aerobic one, and the mechanical composting, that is of a manure pit and burial method. So let us see what do you mean by this Bangalore method. In the Bangalore method, otherwise it is known as the anaerobic method of composting. So composting, they may can ask you in the final exam. So composting is one of the main method of treating the solid waste. Biological waste treatment means it is the composting method. So in that, the first one is Bangalore method. It is an anaerobic method. In this method, a big trench, that means around 3 feet deep, 15 to 30 feet long and around 8 feet broadness is used to dispose the refuse or night soil. സോ ഒരു വലിയ ട്രെഞ്ച് നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്നു. സോ അതിൻ്റെ നീളം, വീതി, ബ്രെഡ് എല്ലാം ഇതിൽ തന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ അറൗണ്ട് 3 feet deep, 15 to 30 feet long and around 8 feet broad. We'll be making a trench, and in that we'll be disposing all the refuse and even the night soil. Usually the size of the trench is based on the volume of refuge. So how much much refuse we have, according to that we can increase the size of the trench. There is no standard one, only this much can be used. So if we have much of refuse, we can use a bigger trench also. The night soil and organic residues form the alternative layers. So at the end of filling, the pit is covered with a 15 to 20 centimeter layer of refuse. So nothing else, that is we are one layer of refuse we will put, then one layer of night soil, then one layer of refuse, then again one layer of night soil. But only thing what you have to remember is at the end of the filling, അല്ലേ, ആ പിറ്റിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും മുകളിലായിട്ട് കവർ ചെയ്യേണ്ടത് എന്തായിരിക്കണം? ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് നോട്ട് ബി ദ നൈറ്റ് സോയിൽ, ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് ബി ദ റിഫ്യൂസ്, വേസ്റ്റ് മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ആയിരിക്കണം മേൾ ഭാഗത്തെ 15 മുതൽ 20 സെൻറ്റിമീറ്റർ വരെയുള്ള ലെയറുകളിൽ. ദിസ് ഈസ് പെർമിറ്റഡ് ടു റിമെയിൻ ഇൻ ദ പിറ്റ് ഫോർ അറൌണ്ട് 3 months without turning and watering. We are not going to turn, we are not going to water or anything. The pit going to be remain same for 3 months. In this period, what happens? The material settles down and it reduces the volume. So the biomass volume will reduce. So around second round of night soil and refuse are put in alternative layers and plastered or covered with mud or earth. So we can again, അല്ലേ, അതിൻ്റെ അത് ഒന്നിങ്ങനെ കമ്പോസ് ചെയ്ത് അതൊന്ന് ഇരിക്കും, അല്ലേ. സോ ഇറ്റ് വിൽ കം ഡൗൺ. സോ അഗെയിൻ വി ക്യാൻ ഫിൽ ഇറ്റ് വിത്ത് ദ സെയിം ലെയറിംഗ് ലൈക്ക് refuse and again night soil, refuse and again night soil, but the upper layer should be only the refuse, it should not be the night soil. So at the top of the layer, once again we are filling, what happened? At last we have to plaster it, or we have to cover the trench with mud or earth, അല്ലേ, മണ്ണ് കൊണ്ട് അത് നന്നായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ശരിക്കും പ്ലാസ്റ്റർ ചെയ്ത് ആ ട്രെഞ്ച് നമ്മൾ മൂടുന്നു. ദിസ് ഹെൽപ്സ് ഇൻ പ്രിവെൻറ്റിംഗ് ദ ലോസ് ഓഫ് മോയ്സ്ചർ ആൻഡ് ബ്രീഡിംഗ് ഓഫ് ഫ്ലൈസ്, സോ ദാറ്റ് ദർ വിൽ നോട്ട് ബി എനി ലോസ് ഓഫ് മോയ്സ്ചർ. വാട്ട് എവർ മോയ്സ്ചർ കണ്ടന്റ് it is having, it will be the same. The sunlight will not affect and there will not be any evaporation or anything, so the moisture will be there only, and there will not be any breeding of flies also, because if you are not plastering with any mud or earth, what happens? The flies will come, it will breed there, and again it can act as a vector, so that many of the diseases they can transmit from feces to others. So the aerobic composting takes place in around 8 to 10 days, following which the material undergoes anaerobic decomposition at a very slow rate. So first 8 to 10 days there will be aerobic combusting, so that the oxygen will be fully consumed, because we have already sealed it. And at the end part, after 8 to 10 days, there will be anaerobic decomposition. So it will take time, it will be a slow rate it will be taking. It takes around 6 to 8 months to obtain the final product. That means in order to get the humus, we have to wait for around 6 to 8 months in Bangalore method. Next one is mechanical combusting, otherwise aerobic method. So here that means in the presence of oxygen only combustion is happening. First one is manure pits. In manure pit, it is the most suitable method for collecting and disposal of refuse in rural areas, especially in the rural areas, the garbage or the cattle dung, the straw, leaves, അല്ലെ, വൈക്കോല്, അതുപോലെയുള്ള ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ കൊയ്ത്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞുള്ള വേസ്റ്റുകൾ, ആനിമൽ വേസ്റ്റ് പ്രോഡക്ട്സ്. സോ these all are dumped into the manure pit and covered with earth after each day's dumping. 2 such pits will be needed. When one is closed, the other will be in use. The refuse gets converted into manure within 5 to 6 months, and it can be returned to the field. We can use it as a good humus. So here we are not using any of the night soils here. Next is the burial method. This method is suitable for small camps. A trench of around 1.5 meter wide and 2 meter deep is excavated and the refuse is dumped. It is covered with around 20 to 30 centimeter of earth at the end of the day. So every day we have to put soil over that. That is a burial system. That means we are going to dump the waste, and every day at the end of the day we have to put soil over that around 20 to 30 centimeter. When the level in the trench is around 40 centimeter from ground, the trench is filled with earth and compacted. The new trench is dug out. The contents may be taken. Here also the contents can be taken out from 4 to 6 months. Only thing is in the burial, you always remember we have to put soil over the waste material. In the other one, we are using all the straw, plants, waste, all the leaves, garbages, everything can be dumped. So 2 pits can be used. One is filled, the other one can be used. That means it is not sealed over that, because there is no need of such sealing. Here we are not using any night soil, so there will not be any breeding of flies, or there will not be any such type of feces contamination. Because there is no night soil. So here, since it is in the presence of oxygen, it is known as the aerobic method of composting. So these are the methods of composting. When we look into the advantages, the first main thing is here we can make profit, because the manure which is made as the byproduct, it is very costly and it is very organic. It can be used in the field for agriculture. So manure we can sell and we can get profit. Next is the destruction of pathogens. So here, as we all know, the pathogens are destroyed easily by maintaining the temperature above 40 degrees Celsius for a minimum of 2 weeks. So all the pathogens will get destroyed there, and it kills all the harmful plants. The temperature of 40 degrees Celsius for a minimum of 2 weeks will destroy all the viability of the weed seeds. So all the fungus type or all the unwanted plants, everything, the weed seeds, everything will be destroyed there only in the temperature. Then volume can be reduced. The manure, when all the waste products are being decomposed, the volume will be reducing, and the manure will be the final core content. So here really we can do the volume reduction. So it has no odors or fly problems associated with raw manure. Composting minimizes the moisture content, so that handling becomes very easier. So you never think that once it is opened, it is very difficult to take out the humus. The humus is it will be in a dry form. It will be having very minimum amount of moisture. So it is very easy to handle. We can transport it to the field, or we can even sell it, so that the people can come and in the sacks they will fill it, and we can sell for the agriculture purpose. Then improved transportability. The reduction of mass, as I have told, the bulk of waste materials will reduce its size into the form of humus, and even the volume is also compressed. So finally it is very easy to transport from one place to another. Then soil conditioner. Compost reduces the risk for soil erosion and reduces the fertilizer requirements. So there is no need of any further artificial fertilizer. It is a natural fertilizer. So of course we can call it as soil conditioner. Since we all use shampoo, along with that we use conditioners. Why? In order to smoothen our hair. So the same way here, the humus or the byproduct, the last product of the composting method, that means the humus can really call as the soil conditioner. Next is no odor in the compost. Since it is free from many of the things, it is under compressed method, it is free from all the odors. So it will not cause any nuisance to anyone. Next is available. The compost order free can be used as per the convenience of the farmer. So we can, the availability is also very high. We can use it as, even if we have proper land in our houses, we can only use this method, and we can really use it for farming. Then no leakage. Since nitrogen is transformed to a steady form, it is less susceptible to leakage also. So there is no leak out also from the tank. So these are some of the advantages of composting methods. There are few disadvantages. So the compost contains less than half the nitrogen. Sometimes the nitrogen component which is present in the soil, it may be little less in the compost. Next is to produce quality compost, time commitment is essential. As we have seen, around 5 to 6 months or around 8 months is needed to form the proper humus. So we cannot do any hurry or in getting the humus. We have to wait. We have to really wait for a particular time. Then only we'll get the good byproduct. Equipment like windrow turners are necessary, but it is costly. Windrow turners means In the net, if you search, you can see even the picture also. If you are dumping lots of waste, in between you can turn the waste by use of big vehicles like JCB. It will be looking like JCB, but it will be very big in order to turn the waste material, so that all the waste materials will become again, dry it up, so that the decomposition will be very easy. But since it is very costly, many times we never use this type of equipments for turning it. Considerable land area is necessary. As I have told, for this particular composting method, we need enough amount of free space or land. Money and time may be spent to sell. So in order to sell, we have to, transportation is needed, vehicle, all these things. So it is money, and we should have money and time for doing the final carryover of this composting methods. So this is all about composting methods. Again, let us continue with the solid waste management. At the last, as the last part of the solid waste management, let us discuss regarding integrated solid waste management. So ISWM, what is ISWM? Integrated solid waste management. It focuses on formulating systems that are accessible, acceptable and affordable by the community. This system can sustain and serve the community to provide safe environment. In this method, it uses a range of strategies, and some of the priority ones are proper collection and segregation of different types of waste. As we all know, the main part in the waste management is collection and segregation. How much we tell to the people also, it is even now also, you all can see in your houses, do you segregate your waste? No, maximum of the times we dump all the waste together. So it will take time, because the decomposition rate of all this waste varies. The plastic decomposes, dead plants decomposes, or the leaves decomposes, or the food waste which decomposes, which consists of moisture and non-moisture. So it all has its own time of decomposition. So segregation is very, very important. Collection and sorting, even the materials which can be recycled, some of them can be landfill, and we can use this as the gas form, biogas. Then thermal treatment, that means the fuel or mass burning or incineration without any energy recovery. Then biological treatment or biogasification, composting. So there are many methods. These all are the various type of energy which can be produced from the waste. So materials can be recycled through the landfilling, we can use the gas use. Then fuel or thermal treatment can be, so that there will be energy production through incineration. Then biological treatment, which can lead to biogas through the composting methods. So there are many types of energy which can be made from this waste. So in the integrated solid waste management, one of the thing is disposal into sea. So in many of the countries, they do this system. It's a simple and cheap method in which the waste is disposed under deep sea water at a remarkable distance from the coastal area. But do you all believe that is it a good method? Because ultimately we are just throwing all this waste into the nature. One or the other day it will come back. But still, many of the countries, they use this deep sea water disposal. Next is source reduction. It is one of the very good method. What do you mean by source reduction? If you reduce the source, the primary source of waste, if you reduce, then of course we can reduce the amount of the waste. Source reduction is the first priority in waste disposal. Source reduction helps in conserving the resources, lessening the cost of disposal by reducing the volume of waste. The cost of disposal can be lessened, that means reduced, by reducing the volume of waste. So how we can practically reduce the waste? One thing is, we can minimize the number of materials, അല്ലേ? മാനുഫാക്ചറിനൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്ന മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ഒരുപാട് കുറയ്ക്കുക. Because we all know that when you order something, even from a Flipkart or in the Amazon, if you order something, you all know that how the thing come in a proper packing with so much of plastic covers, brown sheets. So it is all the manufacturer, how they reduce or minimize the materials, even for packing and even for manufacturing also. Then by increasing the lifetime of the product through quality and maintenance. If a product is made by using quality things, it will get a long life. That means that product can be used for even 50 years or 100 years. So there will not be any more waste produced from that. But if for example, if a e-product, we always look into just into the money, we sometimes lack to look into the quality. So what happens, the product, the same product with branded company and local companies will be getting, we'll just go for the local company. Within 2-3 years it will get damaged and it will be converted into an e-waste. We just throw it into the corner. Later when we change the houses, we'll throw it into the outside. So automatically into the nature the e-waste is getting accumulated. So by improving the lifespan or the quality of a product also, we can reduce the waste. Decreased toxicity, then by reusing the materials, then consumer uses materials efficiently. So if we really use the material also efficiently, many of the waste products nowadays we can use it very effectively. Many of them, they do some craft work by using that particular things. Many of them, they really use some decorative items. So much of things can be, materials can be effectively used by the consumer. Then reusing the material also the same thing, we can reuse many of the things. We can reduce even the toxicity if it is having a toxic effect. By putting into the salt water or dipping it into the vinegar, we can reduce the toxicity. So in many of these ways, really we can reduce the source of waste. So this is all about the solid waste management. Even the techniques also they have given how to techniques involved in resource recovery. That means mechanically we can compress, or we can use incineration to reduce the chemical volume, or mechanically by using grinding or milling, by reducing the size, we can have a faster recovery, or we can faster recycle the waste. Use of hand sorting or air separation or magnetic separation. That means we can segregate the waste by using magnetic separation or by air separation. എയർ സെപ്പറേഷനിലൂടെയൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കാറ്റടിക്കുമ്പം വെയിറ്റ് കുറഞ്ഞ വേസ്റ്റുകൾ ഒരു ഭാഗത്തും വെയിറ്റ് കൂടിയ വേസ്റ്റുകൾ ഒരു ഭാഗത്തും. മാഗ്നറ്റിക് ഉപയോഗിക്കുമ്പോൾ മെറ്റലുകളായിട്ടുള്ളതെല്ലാം നമുക്ക് വേർതിരിച്ചെടുക്കാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കും. സോ ദീസ് ഓൾ ആർ ഓർ ഹാൻഡ് സോർട്ടിങ് അല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടില്ലേ വേസ്റ്റൊക്കെ മേടിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് പോയി അതുപോലെയുള്ള സ്ഥലത്ത് കൊണ്ടുപോയി ആളുകൾ തന്നെ സെഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് അല്ലേ, പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് ബോട്ടിലുകൾ, അതുപോലെ ഓരോ ഹൗസ് വേസ്റ്റ് അങ്ങനെ സെഗ്രിഗേറ്റ് ബൈ ഹാൻഡ് സോർട്ടിങ്, കൈകൊണ്ട് തന്നെ നമ്മൾ വേർതിരിക്കുന്നു. സോ ദീസ് ഓൾ ആർ വേരിയസ് ടെക്നിക്സ് വിച്ച് ഈസ് ഇൻവോൾവ് ഇൻ റിസോഴ്സ് റിക്കവറി. So I hope you all have understood regarding solid waste management. Now we are moving into the next part of waste, that is excreta disposal. How to dispose the excreta and the sewage. So today we are going to continue with excreta and sewage disposal. Excreta and sewage disposal. So I am sure that you all will be aware what do you mean by excreta and what are the hazards of improper excreta disposal. So in this particular topic we can learn about sanitation barrier, what are the health hazards to improve the ways of excreta disposal, which are the 5F of transmission of infection, and what do you mean by sanitation barrier. So various methods of excreta disposal, all these things we are going to discuss now. So the hazards of improper excreta disposal. So I'm very sure nowadays you all will be hearing regarding the importance of having the toilet in every houses. Even our central government is giving much focus in all the states. That means in India there should not be any house without any toilet facility. So that the excreta is disposed properly. There will not be any open air defecation, because in the first unit we have seen that due to the open air defecation there was so much of communicable diseases, or there are so much of vectors which transmit diseases from feces into the food, and the people will be eating that food, and from people to people it will be transmitting. So these all problems can be handled only through proper excreta disposal. So here we can see some of the hazards of improper excreta disposal. If you are not properly disposing the human waste, what will happen? Human toilet waste, that is the excreta. So it can cause soil pollution, water pollution. It can contaminate food, as I have told. The flies can come. It attracts fly breeding, that helps in transmission of diseases, many diseases like diarrhea, dysentery, cholera, typhoid, paratyphoid fever, hookworm diseases. So there are plenty. We have studied many of this. Not many, I am very sure you have studied all these things. So these all are very good examples for the diseases which can be spread through improper excreta disposal. So these diseases result in giving huge burden to the public health. This brings down the life expectancy of the people, and it can cause high level sickness also, and thereby reduces the productivity of the people. So if the people productivity is reduced, of course the country development will be affected. Finally, it will be a intrinsic factor for the socio-economical growth of our country. So proper disposal of human excreta is a very basic unit to improve the environmental health and thereby the health of the population. So I hope with this you have felt the importance of excreta disposal. Now let us see what are the routes of disease transmission from excreta. So this is all just helps you to know much about the excreta, or what are the dangers of excreta. Then we will be entering into the methods of excreta disposal. So the routes of disease transmission from excreta. The human excreta are a major source of infection. The excreta of human carriers spread infections through the channels. The channel of transmissions are 5F. Which are the 5F? Fluid, fingers, flies, floor, and food. So these all are the 5F factors. So here you can see that from the feces or from the human excreta, the fluid, fingers, the water, fingers, or flies, or the field or the floor, through the food, it can, how it reaches the host. So how, that's how it will transmit the fecal borne diseases. It will be carrying like that. So if we properly use a sanitation barrier, that is what we are going to see. That means a latrine sanitation. So the sanitary latrine, if we really have a proper excreta disposal method, it will act as a sanitation barrier, so that this feces will not come into contact with the water, with the flies, or with the floor, or with our food, or with even our fingers, if we properly do our hand washing. So for the food, we need the food hygiene. For the fluids, proper safe drinking water by boiling we can. Then flies, we can control the flies. Then feces, it should be properly segregated, and it should be properly disposed. And the fingers, through the hand hygiene, and even the cleanliness of the field or the floor. So these all can act as a sanitation. Through the sanitation barrier, it is possible. So now let us see which are the methods of excreta disposal. So the various excreta disposal methods are clearly given in this flowchart. Even in your KPARC also it is present, and if it is not available, or if you would like to study in this way, you can use this diagram also, the methods of excreta disposal. Unsevered areas and severed areas, and service type latrines, non-service type latrines, and latrines for camp and temporary use. So these much we are going to see today. So we have service type latrines, we have non-service type latrines or sanitary latrines, and latrines for camp and temporary use. So you can write down the classification very clearly by seeing that service type latrine means the people will be collected by human agency daily, on daily basis or weekly basis. They will be collecting the feces, and they will be transmitting. In the previous years they were using this system. The non-service type, we all are using this type nowadays, that is the sanitary latrines. The sanitary latrines are, for example, we have borehole latrine, dug well latrine, water seal latrine, septic tank method, and aqua privy methods. And for the camp and temporary purpose, if there is a camp or a lot of people gathered for a temporary purpose, there we can use shallow trench, deep trench, pit latrine, and borehole latrines. So let us enter into, so in the water seal type, that is a main method which we all are using in our homes. In the water seal we have PRAI, RCA and Sulabh Shauchalaya, Shulabh Shauchalaya, which we used to see in the railway station or in the bus stand. So these all are the three main types which is coming under the water seal. So let us see one by one. So the unsewered areas, that means the service type latrines, as I have told. Otherwise it is known as conservancy system. Here the human agencies collect the night soil from house to house using a pail or bucket type of latrines and carry in night soil cart. So like bullock cart, previous years പണ്ട് കാലങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ നൈറ്റ് സോയിൽ കാർട്ട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് ഒരു കാർട്ട് ഉണ്ടാവും. അതിൽ വന്ന് അവർ ഡെയിലി ബേസിസിൽ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് കൊണ്ടുപോകും. സോ ദാറ്റ് ദേ വിൽ ബി ഡിസ്പോസിങ് ഇൻ എ ഫൈനൽ പ്ലേസ്. സോ ഫൈനലി ദ നൈറ്റ് സോയിൽ undergoes composting or burial method in shallow trenches, because it can be used in the form of composting also. And this type of service latrines are unacceptable and it is really a nuisance also. So but it was one of the method, that's why we are just mentioning about it. So the advantage is it is an unacceptable system and has no advantages. We cannot tell it as a positive factor. In the previous years where there is they cannot dug a hole, or in such type of system they were using this conservancy system or the service type latrines. Nowadays we are not at all using it. Moreover, it has various type of disadvantages, like it can transmit the diseases, it can attract the flies, it can pollute the water and soil. Even the bucket and pans, they require frequent replacement. It will be having foul smelling, and emptying of this bucket is not always satisfactory. So there are so much of things. It lowers the human dignity. Who will do such a job in this generation? All are educated and no one would like to do such a job. So it is very unacceptable system. So the next one comes, that is a sanitary latrines. It is very very important, and it is your exam based question also. Like, what do you mean by sanitary latrines? So sanitary latrines, otherwise known service type latrines, here it is very very important. The first one is borehole latrine. The borehole latrine consists of a circular hole dug vertically into the ground, which measures around 30 to 40 centimeter in diameter and around 20 feet depth. This sized borehole latrine is used for family for around 5 to 6 people for about 1 year. So a small family having of 5 to 6 people, at least for a 1 year, this type of borehole latrine was enough. Like around 30 to 40 centimeter diameter and around 20 feet of depth. So we are just digging a hole, circular hole, we are digging vertically directly into the ground. A special equipment which is known as auger is used to dig the hole. A concrete squatting plate with a central opening and foot plate is placed over the hole, so that a sitting area is there. We have a foot plate also, and a suitable privacy is also made. That means it may be covered with just a cloth fencing, or with a temporary wooden material, or with a plastic material it will be covered. That means a proper privacy is also made there. The purification of night soil takes place by anaerobic digestion and eventually converted into a harmless mass. So in the soil it will undergo the anaerobic digestion, because it is depth into the soil deep, so it will be anaerobic decomposition. So it will be converted into dry night soil, and later it will be a harmless mass. So various advantages are, the establishment is very fast. That means there is no need to construct a toilet facility type. Just what we need is a squatting place, or a concrete slab is there. There we are having a foot plate to sit, and from directly into the earth we are making a dig vertically. So it is very easy to make. There is no need of construction or anything, and just for a privacy we are using a suitable material around it. So it is suitable for hard soil conditions, provided there are no large rocks. That means so it is very suitable for hard soil conditions, provided there are no large rocks. So if there is no large rocks and if the soil is very hard, in such type of condition we can really use this type of things, because the leakage into the other surfaces will be very less in case of this hard soil. Less members can accomplish the job. So if it is for a family, within 1 or 2 days you can really do the construction works. Then appropriately for emergency conditions or a temporary use we can use this. But some of the disadvantages are it requires special equipments, high risk, because in order to vertically dig in a circular manner, as we have seen, equipment is used like auger. For example, I can tell that nowadays we use a machine in order to dig in the rubber plantation. അല്ലേ, റബ്ബർ പ്ലാന്റേഷനൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഈ റബ്ബർ തൈ നടാനായിട്ട് കുഴി എടുക്കുന്ന ഒരു മെഷീൻ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ഒരു പോയിൻറ്റഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളൊരു മെഷീൻ, ജസ്റ്റ് അതിങ്ങനെ വട്ടത്തിൽ കുഴിച്ചങ്ങ് പോകും അല്ലേ, കറക്റ്റ് വട്ടത്തിൽ നമുക്ക് എന്തോരം വേണോ അത്രയും കുഴിക്കാം അല്ലേ, എന്നിട്ട് അതിനകത്ത് മണ്ണ് മാറ്റിയാൽ മതി. സോ ദാറ്റ് മെഷീൻ വാസ് നീഡഡ് ഫോർ ദാറ്റ്. സോ റിക്വയർമെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് സച്ച് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് സ്പെഷ്യൽ മെഷീൻ ഈസ് നീഡഡ്. ദെൻ ഹൈ റിസ്ക് ഓഫ് ഗ്രൗണ്ട് വാട്ടർ കണ്ടാമിനേഷൻ. So since we are digging it more feet inside, around 20 feet ഡെപ്തിൽ നമ്മൾ കുഴിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്, അതുകൊണ്ട് ഗ്രൗണ്ട് വാട്ടർ കണ്ടാമിനേഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവാൻ സാധ്യതയുണ്ടല്ലോ അല്ലേ. കിണർ വെള്ളവും അതുപോലെയൊക്കെ കിണർ വെള്ളമൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് പോയി മിക്സ് ആവാനുള്ള സാധ്യതകൾ കൂടുന്നു. ദെൻ ഷോർട്ടർ ലൈഫ് സ്പാൻ, വേഗം നിറയും അല്ലേ, ഒരു വർഷമൊക്കെയാണ് നമുക്ക് ഒരു 4-5 മെമ്പേഴ്സ് ഉള്ള വീട്ടിൽ ഇത് ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. ദെൻ കോസിങ് ഓർഡർ ആൻഡ് ഇറ്റ് ക്യാൻ അട്രാക്ട് ഈവൻ ഫ്ലൈസ്, ഹയർ ചാൻസസ് ഫോർ ബ്ലോക്കേജ്. ദിസ് ഈസ് ഓപ്റ്റഡ് വെൻ പിറ്റ് എക്സ്കവേഷൻ ഈസ് നോട്ട് പോസിബിൾ. നമുക്കൊരു വലിയ കുഴി കുത്താനൊക്കെ ഉള്ളൊരു ഓപ്ഷൻ ഇല്ലാത്തപ്പോൾ മാത്രമാണ് നമ്മളിത് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നുള്ളൂ. സോ ദീസ് ആർ സം ഓഫ് ദ ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജസ്. ദ നെക്സ്റ്റ് വൺ ഈസ് ഡഗ്വെൽ ലാട്രിൻ. So after this dugwell I will show you some of the pictures of this dugwell and borehole latrine so that you will get a comparison. So what do you mean by dugwell latrine? It is an improvement over the borehole latrine. Somewhat same type of borehole but little more improved version is known as dugwell latrine. A circular pit of around 75 cm in diameter and 12 feet depth is dug into the ground for the reception of the night soil. So here it is only 12 feet depth, but the circular pit is around 75 cm in diameter. ഇതിന് മുന്നേ ബോർഹോളിൽ എത്രയായിരുന്നു? 40 സെൻറ്റിമീറ്റർ ഡയമീറ്റർ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നുള്ളൂ, പക്ഷേ 20 അടി ആഴമുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇവിടെ ആഴം കുറവാണ്, പക്ഷേ വിസ്തീർണം സർക്കുലർ പിറ്റ് വലുതാണ് അല്ലേ. ദ ഡയമീറ്റർ ഈസ് അറൗണ്ട് 75 cm. ദ പോട്ടറി റിങ്സ് ലൈൻസ് ദ പിറ്റ്. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ കിണറുകളിലൊക്കെ ഇറക്കി വെക്കുന്ന റിങ്ങുകളുണ്ടല്ലോ, കോൺക്രീറ്റ് റിങ്, പക്ഷേ ഇവിടെ മണ്ണ് കൊണ്ടുണ്ടാക്കിയ അതുപോലത്തെ റിങ്ങുകൾ ഇറക്കി ഈ പൈപ്പ് ഇതിന് ഒരു ലൈനിങ് കൊടുക്കും. എ കോൺക്രീറ്റ് സ്ക്വാറ്റിംഗ് പ്ലേറ്റ് ഈസ് പ്ലേസ്ഡ് ഓൺ ദ ടോപ്പ് ഓഫ് ദ പിറ്റ്. സ്യൂട്ടബിൾ സ്ട്രക്ചർ പ്രൊവൈഡ്സ് പ്രൈവസി. സോ ഹിയർ ഓൾസോ എ പ്രോപ്പർ സ്ട്രക്ചർ അല്ലേ, ഒന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക് കൊണ്ട് മറച്ച് കെട്ടിയതോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചാക്ക് കൊണ്ടോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ചെറിയ ഫ്ലൈവുഡ് കൊണ്ടോ അതുപോലെയുള്ള എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു ചെറിയ വസ്തു കൊണ്ട് മറച്ച് കെട്ടിയ ഒരു പ്രൈവസിയും കൊടുക്കുന്നു. ദിസ് ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് ലാട്രിൻ മേ സെർവ് അറൗണ്ട് ഫോർ 5 years because we know that here the circular pit is little more bigger than that. So the dugwell latrine also uses anaerobic digestion like borehole latrine. Here the advantages are it is cheaper to construct, quick to construct, water is not needed for operation. But some of the disadvantages are unfit for places where water table is high. അല്ലേ, എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഉറവയൊക്കെ നന്നായിട്ടുള്ള സ്ഥലത്ത്, ചെറുതായിട്ട് കുഴിച്ചാൽ തന്നെ വെള്ളം വരുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലത്തൊന്നും നമുക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും ഇതുപോലുള്ള ഡഗ്വെൽ ലാട്രിൻ ഉണ്ടാക്കാനായിട്ട് സാധിക്കില്ല. അൺഫിറ്റ് ഫോർ ടു അൺസ്റ്റേബിൾ സോയിൽ അല്ലേ, നനവുള്ള മണ്ണ്. നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ ബോർഹോൾ പഠിപ്പിച്ചപ്പോഴും പറഞ്ഞു നല്ല കട്ടിയുള്ള മണ്ണുള്ളിടത്താണ് നമുക്കിത് ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റത്തുള്ളൂ, എങ്കിലാണ് ഇത് മറ്റ് സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലോട്ട് ലീക്ക് ആവാതെയും അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഉപയോഗിക്കാൻ പറ്റുള്ളൂ. സോ അൺസ്റ്റേബിൾ സോയിൽ ഉള്ളിടത്ത് ഇത് ഉപയോഗിക്കാനായിട്ട് പറ്റില്ല. അൺസ്യൂട്ടബിൾ ഫോർ വെയർ ഗ്രൗണ്ട് ഈസ് വെരി റോക്കി. അതുപോലെ തന്നെ വലിയ പാറകളും പാറക്കെട്ടൊക്കെ ഉള്ളിടത്ത് നമുക്ക് ഇതുപോലെ കുഴിക്കാൻ പറ്റുമോ? പറ്റില്ല. often it causes even the smell also, bad smell or the odor. It is also one of the problem of that one. So here it is one of the example picture of borehole latrine. Borehole latrine എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ ഒരു കാര്യം ഓർത്താൽ മതി, അവിടെ ഒരു സ്ലാബ് ഉണ്ട്, കോൺക്രീറ്റ് സ്ലാബ് ഉണ്ട്, സ്ക്വാറ്റിംഗ് സ്ലാബ് ഉണ്ട്, അതിനുശേഷം നമുക്ക് അവിടെ ഫുഡ് പ്ലേറ്റ് ഉണ്ട്, കാല് വെക്കാനുള്ള സ്ഥലമുണ്ട്, അതിനുശേഷം വെർട്ടിക്കലായിട്ട് അവിടെ നിന്ന് നേരെ ഒരു പിറ്റാണ് താഴത്തോട്ട് അല്ലേ. അതിൻ്റെ വാവട്ടം വളരെ ചെറുതായിരിക്കും, 30 to 40 centimeter diameter, but it is much deeper, around 20 feet deeper. This is borehole latrine. So here also you can see, even they have shown the deep pipe also. So this is one of the model of borehole latrine. So here, as we have told, the upper part will be around 30 to 40 centimeter diameter, and it will be having around depth of 20 feet depth it will be. But here in dugwell latrine, so dugwell lateral, what was the thing here? Also the same thing, but the diameter is around 70 or 75 centimeter diameter, and the depth is around only 12 feet, only 3.5 meter deep. That is the main difference between the dugwell latrine. So next we are going to see regarding the water seal latrine. So water seal latrine, otherwise pore flush latrines. This is the latrines which we all are using in all our maximum of our houses. Not maximum, I am very sure we all are using flush latrines or water seal latrines. But you don't think that in India all the people use this. Still in India there are many places where they use this type of dugwell latrines, borehole latrines, all these things, because India is not at a developed country. There are still many parts still undeveloped or in developing stage. So let us see about water seal latrine. So in water seal latrine, it is an improved form of sanitary latrine. The water seal latrines slightly differ from pit latrines. In this type of latrine, the pit is located away from the squatting plate. They have a shallow toilet pan with a water seal. When flushing with a small quantity of water, excreta fall directly into the latrine pit. The squatting plate fitted with a water seal prevents flies and odors. So this is the main important thing. The water seal അല്ലേ, നമ്മളെപ്പോഴും ഫ്ലഷ് ചെയ്ത് കഴിയുമ്പോൾ വാട്ടർ പൊങ്ങി കിടക്കുന്നതായിട്ട് കാണാൻ പറ്റും. So it really prevents the flies to come into that, and even the bad odor will not be there. This avoids the filthy smelling. The household sewage is in the septic tank is treated by anaerobic digestion. So it will directly flushed into the septic tank, and there the anaerobic digestion will happen. The aerobic digestion takes place outside the septic tank. In this method, the excreta and liquid waste can be disposed. It is suitable for individual dwellings, small groups of houses, or even small institutions also. The various types of water seal latrines are: one is PRAI type, next is RCA type. So the name is just who have made it. So PRAI type means the Planning Research and Action Institute of Lucknow has made that model. Next model is which is designed by Research Cum Action Project in Environmental Sanitation of Ministry of Health, RCA type. So here the RCA type especially we use in our Indian system. So the various parts of this water seal latrines are squatting plate with pan. As I have told, the size of squatting plate is around 3 feet into 3 feet. It contains raised foot rest and a pan which receives the feces, urine, and even the wash water. And there is a trap. It is a bent pipe of about 3 inches. അല്ലേ, നിങ്ങളെല്ലാവർക്കും നിങ്ങളുടെ മനസ്സിൽ തന്നെ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും അറിയാം അല്ലേ, ഒരു യൂറോപ്യൻ ക്ലോസറ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഇന്ത്യൻ ക്ലോസറ്റ്, ഇതൊക്കെ വാട്ടർ സീൽഡാണ് കേട്ടോ. ഇന്ത്യൻ ക്ലോസറ്റിലാണെങ്കിലും വെള്ളം സീൽഡ് അല്ലേ മുകളിൽ, യൂറോപ്യൻ ക്ലോസറ്റിലാണെങ്കിലും സീൽഡ് ആണല്ലോ. ഇതൊക്കെ അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു മോഡേൺ വേർഷൻ എന്നുള്ളതേ ഉള്ളൂ. ബട്ട് ദീസ് ഓൾ ആർ വാട്ടർ സീൽഡ് ലാട്രിൻസ്. സോ ഹിയർ ദ വാട്ടർ സീൽ ഈസ് ദ ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് between the level of water in the trap and the lowest point in the concave surface of the trap. It is usually about 1 inch. The water seal prevents the access of flies and also suppresses the bad odor. And so that is a trap. Trap എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒരു വളഞ്ഞ ആ പൈപ്പ് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കണ്ടാൽ അറിയാം. അതിൻ്റെ പിക്ചർ ഞാനിപ്പോൾ കാണിക്കാം. സോ വളഞ്ഞ ഒരു പൈപ്പായിരിക്കും. അതിൻ്റെ പിക്ചർ നിങ്ങൾ പരീക്ഷയ്ക്ക് വരയ്ക്കുകയും ചെയ്യണം ചോദിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ, so that the water can be sealed there. So there will be a trap is formed there. Next is the connecting pipe. The trap is connected to the dugwell pipe by means of a connecting pipe. It is around 3 inches in diameter and 3 feet in length with a blend at the end. Then dugwell pit will be there. It is around 30 inches in diameter and around 10 to 12 feet deep. When one pit is full, another pit can be used. So here also at the end അല്ലേ, നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ വീടുകളിലൊക്കെ കൂടുതലും സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്ക് ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ പോർട്ടബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ടാങ്കുകളാണ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. പണ്ട് കാലത്തൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെ ആയിരുന്നില്ല. പണ്ട് കാലങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ ഡഗ്വെൽ തന്നെയാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ അറ്റത്ത്. അതിനുശേഷം അതെന്ന് അറിയുമ്പം നെക്സ്റ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി അനദർ പിറ്റ് ക്യാൻ ബി യൂസ്ഡ്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പണ്ട് അതിനുശേഷമൊക്കെ നമ്മൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ട് വലിയ കുളം പോലെ വലിയ സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്കുകൾ നമ്മൾ പണിയുകയായിരുന്നു അല്ലേ. ബട്ട് നൗ എ ഡേയ്സ് വി ആർ സീയിങ് സോ മച്ച് ഓഫ് ട്രാൻസ്പോർട്ടബിൾ സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്ക്സ് അല്ലേ. ചെറിയ ചെറിയ പോർട്ടബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള എടുത്ത് മൂവ് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്ന കൂട്ട് സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്കുകളാണ് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നത്. Then we have a superstructure. It provides around both privacy and a shelter. So we provide a very good structure. It is not like പണ്ടത്തെ പോലെ ഒരു പാള വലിച്ചു കെട്ടിയോ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ തുണി വലിച്ചു കെട്ടിയോ ഒന്നുമല്ല. So nowadays we provide a very good structure for these types of water sealed latrines with concrete structures. The main advantages are it really prevents the access of flies. It prevents the escape of bad odor and gases. It requires only minimum use of water. അല്പം വെള്ളം ഒഴിച്ചാൽ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് വാട്ടർ സീൽഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ലാട്രിനിൽ മണം ഒഴിവാക്കാനും അതുപോലെ ഫ്ലൈസിനെ അവോയ്ഡ് ചെയ്യാനായിട്ടും എല്ലാം നമുക്ക് സാധിക്കും. ഡിസഡ്വാൻറ്റേജസ് ആർ സോളിഡ് anal cleaning materials may block the pipe. So sometimes the tissue papers which we use for cleaning or such type of solid cleaning materials can block the pipes. It is expensive comparatively with the pit latrines, very very expensive. We all know that nowadays for a bathroom fitting, if we get a good thing, it is really expensive. Then user should know to maintain the cleanliness of the plate and the pan. That means the external surface. That means if it is Indian toilet or if it is a European toilet, the both places we have to maintain the cleanliness. That means where we sit, the plate and the pan. So where we sit, that place should be maintained the cleanliness. So here it is shown a water seal latrine. So we can see the squatting plate and the pan. Where we keep our legs or where we sit, that's a squatting plate and pan. And we have a trap where we can see a U-shaped place where the water seals there. Always the water will be in that level, it will be there. And then we can see the feces will be moving through the connecting pipe into the dugwell. So this is one of the form, or they have seen the RCA. I have told the RCA type, don't worry about the name. RCA means research cum action project in environmental sanitation, which is proposed or made by the Ministry of Health. So we can just use the word water seal latrine. So they have shown. So next is Sulabh Sauchalaya. Sulabh Sauchalaya is also one of the method of a latrine facility, which model is launched by Patna based firm. It is a very low cost water seal type of latrine. It is nowadays used in many parts of India, especially as I have told, when we go for a journey or for a trip, we can see this type of latrines in the bus stand, all these areas. The excreta undergoes bacterial decomposition and is converted to the compost directly. This method requires very little water. Sulabh International investors build and maintain the system. Also, actually they maintain this system of community latrines. That's why the name Sulabh Sauchalaya. Next, we can study a little about the septic tanks. So a septic tank is also a part of this. So the pit latrine cannot handle the huge wastewater, and at the same time the sewage system demands high cost. The septic tanks emerges as a suitable method for disposing huge amount of wastewater. Even in our houses we all know that there are various type of wastewater also. From the toilet we have other bathing waste materials, or the wastewater is also there. So it is very difficult, so we need a very big tank itself. So consequently the septic tank are appropriate to systems that use large quantity of water, specifically where water is used for both flushing and for anal cleansing. So we flush every time we do our anal cleaning, so enough water every time, there is much amount of water is getting out from there. So conversely, they cannot manage huge populations because it may fill very fast. So they are appropriate for single household and institutions such as hospitals or schools. So waste from various sources like toilets, kitchen, bathroom travel through pipes and reach water watertight tank where partial treatment takes place. The liquid waste, after 1 to 2 days, move to a secondary treatment system. This is a kind of underground disposal system. So after 1 or 3 days, the liquid waste, it moves to the secondary treatment system. So there will be two in a single tank. There will be two compartments, and from one compartment to the other compartment, the liquid waste will be moving. So the treatment process in the septic tank is like this. First one is settlement. The heavy solids settle in the bottom of the tank. This forms a sludge that needs a removal. When it is getting filled, a designed tank is capable of separating around 80% of the suspended solid from the liquid. So if it is a very good well designed tank, around 80% of the solids it will be deposited. And next is flotation. The lighter solids like grease and oil rise to float in the surface to form a layer of scum. So layer of scum means there will be a lighter solid waste, alle weight കുറഞ്ഞ solid waste, that means a greasy substance or oily formed substance, these all will float in the surface. It in a course of time, this scum layer becomes thick and the surface may be hard also. So that is the second thing, that is the flotation. Then the sludge digestion and consolidation. The sludge which is formed at the below part, so the sludge at the bottom of the tank is compressed by the weight of the new material settled on top, increasing its density. The solid material in the sludge and scum layers is broken down by the bacteria into a simpler chemical composition, and it is called this is called aerobic digestion. Anaerobic digestion, that means here there is no presence of oxygen. Anaerobic digestion will happen and it reduces the volume of sludge and makes it odorless even, and a part of solid is converted into liquids and gases like methane, and that forms the bubbles in the surface. So methane gas will be formed over there, and finally the stabilization will happen. So the liquid that is flowing out through the outlet pipes, it is known as the effluent. The effluent gets dispersed into the soil through perforated or open joined pipes laid in the trenches measuring around 90 centimeter depth. Then the trenches are covered with soil. The bacteria, helminths and the organic matter present in the effluent are attacked by the bacteria, those who are present in the upper layers of the soil. The organic matter is oxidized into nitrates. You just think that they are getting stabilized here. That means they are undergoing proper purification through which method? Through decomposition. That means anaerobic decomposition or aerobic digestion is happening here. So thus the anaerobic digestion takes place inside the tank, and the aerobic digestion occurs outside the septic tank in the soil, because the water level, once it is increasing, it will be converted into the next one, the purification process of the sewage. is contributed by anaerobic digestion and even the aerobic oxidation also. So the steps or the treatment process in septic tank is like this: settlement, flotation, stabilization or sludge digestion and consolidation. So it can be even in the same timing also, like sludge digestion, consolidation and stabilization happens at a same phase. So this is what we can see in the septic tank method. So aqua praevi is nothing else, it is a new version, or we can tell it is also a functional model of a septic tank. A short length of pipe drops from the latrine that is laid just on top of the septic tank. So here it is little more smaller. These are suitable on places where pit latrines are unacceptable, where we cannot do a pit latrine. This we can be used there. The capacity is around 1 cubic meter is advised for a small family. It requires cleaning at least once in 6 years. Every 6 years you have to clean. That means little more smaller than the septic tank aqua praevi is. Here also the anaerobic digestion purifies the night soil. Here anaerobic digestion takes place. Here the gases discharged in the process moves out through the vent pipe provided at the top. So here we can see there will be a vent pipe so that the gas which is formed will be kept outside. Even the methane gas also formed, we have seen. The effluent is treated same as the septic tank. The amount of water required for flushing is much smaller than of a septic tank due to the location of the tank. The outlet here, very less water is used even than a septic tank method. The outlet pipe that exceeds around 50 mm below the water surface is an appropriate and effective order sealed, very effective for order sealed one also. So the advantages is also given. It is easy to clean. Emptying of the tank is efficient than that of a pore flush latrine. The effluent is innocuous. The disadvantages are it requires more water. The blockages may occur due to cleaning materials, as I have told. Any of such type of cleaning material can make it blocked. Expensive to establish. It is difficult to construct. So these are some of the disadvantages. Here I will just show you a few pictures very fast so that you will be able to understand. If you understand through the diagram, it will be more easier. So in the septic tank, as I have told, we have various like see manhole covers are there and inspection pipe, so that any blockage happens means we can clean it and there will be an inlet. Then the scum, what was scum? As I have told, the greasy material or the lightweight solid materials which is floating up. All the other waste materials which is more heavier, it will come down and it will form the sludge at the end, and the waste water which is excess, it will be moving into the other side and through the other side of the pipe. So don't think that there is no holes. There are holes at the opening part or the upper part of the septic tank because the excess water, because always we use much waste waters. So after a first compartment, it will move into the second compartment, and through the outlet pipe the waste water will goes out into the drainage field. So here we can see the scum layer, and here we need the cleaning if it is getting blackened or hardened. If we use much amount of antimicrobials or antimicrobial agents or cleaning materials in the toilet, it will cause or it will destroy or it will disturb the anaerobic decomposition, which can lead to scum layer, more scum layer. അല്ലേ, നമ്മൾ ഒരുപാട് ഡിറ്റർജൻറ്റുകൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരുപാട് ക്ലീനിങ് മെറ്റീരിയൽസ് ഒക്കെ ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇതിനകത്തുള്ള നോർമൽ ബാക്ടീരിയ ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, അതെല്ലാം നശിച്ചു പോകാൻ കാരണമാവുകയും ഈ സ്കം ലെയർ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്തായിരുന്നു? ഗ്രീസി ആയിട്ടുള്ള മെറ്റീരിയൽ അല്ലേ. ആ മെറ്റീരിയൽ എന്ത് സംഭവിക്കും? കൂടുതൽ കട്ടി ആർജിക്കുകയും, കാരണം എനറോബിക് ഡൈജഷനൊന്നും അതിൽ നടക്കാതെ വരും. അപ്പോൾ അതുകൊണ്ട് ഹാർഡായി ബ്ലോക്ക് ആവാനുള്ള സാധ്യതകൾ ഉണ്ടാവും. അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് പണ്ട് കാലത്തുള്ളവർ പറയുന്നത് ഒരുപാട് ഭയങ്കര ഹൈ ഹാർഡ് കെമിക്കൽസ് ഒന്നും നമ്മൾ യൂസ് ചെയ്യരുത് എന്ന് ടോയ്ലറ്റിൽ, അല്ലേ. കാരണം അത് താഴെ ചെന്ന് സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്കിൽ ചെന്ന് അപ്പോൾ നമുക്ക് നോർമലായിട്ടുള്ള ഡീകമ്പോസിഷൻ പ്രൊസീജിയർ നടക്കില്ല. സോ എക്സസ് വാട്ടർ വിൽ ബി മൂവിങ്. സോ ഫ്രം ദിസ് പിക്ചർ ഐ ഹോപ്പ് ഇറ്റ് വിൽ ബി ക്ലിയർ ഫോർ യു ഹൗ ദ സ്ലഡ്ജ് ഫോംസ് ആൻഡ് ദ സ്കം ലെയർ ഫോംസ്. സോ ഹിയർ ദേ ഹാവ് ഷോൺ ഒരു വീഡിയോ വീട്ടിലൊക്കെ എങ്ങനെയാണ് അല്ലേ സെപ്റ്റിക് ടാങ്ക്, അതിൻ്റെ ലെയേഴ്സ്, അതിൻ്റെ ഡിസ്ട്രിബ്യൂഷൻ, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ നമ്മൾ കുടിവെള്ളം അതിൻ്റെ താഴെയാണ് ഗ്രൗണ്ട് വാട്ടർ, സർഫസ്. സോ ഓൾവേസ് വി ഷുഡ് തിങ്ക് അബൌട്ട് ദ മിക്സിംഗ് ഓഫ് വാട്ടർ. ഇറ്റ് ഷുഡ് ബി എവേ ഓർ ദ ഡയറക്ഷൻ ഷുഡ് ബി സെപ്പറേറ്റ്. സോ ദീസ് ഓൾ തിങ്സ് വി ഷുഡ് കീപ്പ് ഇൻ മൈൻഡ്. ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ അക്വാ പ്രൈവി. നമ്മൾ ലാസ്റ്റ് പഠിച്ച അക്വാ പ്രൈവി ആണിത്. സോ ഹിയർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ് somewhat the same like septic tank, but I have told it is very small comparatively with the septic tank. It is just a small one here also, but the method they are using is the same one in the aqua privy also. So they have, in order to give out the smell, we have a exit here. The fly screening is also given over there, the vent pipe is there, and all the other things are the same, but only thing the tank is very small in size. Every 6 years it need the cleaning, or it needs these things. So with this, I would like to complete today. The other things we will be seeing in the next class. Now we have to discuss regarding the latrines which we use in the camps or for temporary methods. So that we will continue in the next class. So with the septic tank and the aqua privy, let me complete over here now. We will continue in the next class. Thank you, students.